What's going on, everybody? My name is Curtis Granderson. I'm a recently retired Major League Baseball player, and retired means that I used to play baseball, but now I no longer play. But when I did, I played for a lot of different teams: the Detroit Tigers, the New York Yankees, the New York Mets, the Los Angeles Dodgers, the Toronto Blue Jays, the Milwaukee Brewers, and the Miami Marlins. And now that I'm retired, I get a chance to be with you all today to read an amazing book about one of my favorite baseball players, Jackie Robinson, in a book called I Am Jackie Robinson. Super excited to read this book with you all. Jackie was a great baseball player, but also a great human being and a great student as well. So I'm excited to read this book with you all. I hope you are ready for it. It starts off, Jackie, again, a baseball player. Again, one of my favorite baseball players. He's starting things off right, but let's learn a little bit about Jackie and we'll dive right into this book. So it starts off with Jackie coming home to meet his siblings with his mom. His mom is sitting there talking, and they start off like this. Sometimes it's hard to be brave. My mother was brave, and she liked brave people. When I was born, the youngest of 5 kids, she even named me after someone brave. So you can see Jackie's mom right there. There's little Jackie and his 4 siblings right there. Jackie's mom says his middle name will be Roosevelt. Jack Roosevelt Robinson. Why Roosevelt, one of the siblings said, and the mom says, after President Teddy Roosevelt. He fought to make sure black people were treated the same as everyone else. One of the brothers says, that's a lot for little Jackie to live up to. The mom says, you'll see, I'm not worried at all. She had a lot of faith in Jackie. But just naming Jackie those names and thinking that that would make him brave isn't all that's gonna get him to that point. So let's see where it goes next. But having a brave name doesn't make you a brave person. In fact, as a kid, I didn't like sleeping alone. I used to sleep in my mom's bed. Even when she tried to bribe me, I wouldn't leave. So you can see Jackie right there with the mom. The mom's like, hey, you gotta get out of the bed. You gotta go sleep in your own bed. I was like that too when I was little. Sometimes I'd get scared and I wanted to stay in the bed with my mom and dad. Jackie's mom tried to bribe him out of the bed. She goes, I'll give you a quarter if you go sleep in your room. And Jackie said, not a chance. It's way better in here. So now Jackie ends up getting a little bit bigger. He's able to get out and about, start doing some things. Let's see where it goes. Is it gonna be good? Is it gonna be bad? One of his scariest moments came when he was 8 years old. He was outside and a girl from across the street called him a terrible name. He was so mad he yelled a name right back at her. Her father came running immediately. He didn't like it that a black boy was standing up to his white daughter. We were the only black family on the block. As you can see, Jackie right there was a young black boy, and the girl that he was getting into it with and yelling at each other was a young white girl, and there's his dad. First and foremost, it's never right to yell at each other. Even if someone yells something bad at you, it's not good to yell back at them. So it's one of the things that, again, Jackie had to grow up and become brave. He didn't start out being brave just because he had an amazing middle name. He had to learn how to do so. He made some mistakes. I've made some mistakes as kids. I'm sure some of you have made some as well, but we have to grow out of them. We have to learn. Let's see how things kind of take place from this point. So the two of them not only ended up yelling at each other, name calling, then all of a sudden they started throwing rocks at each other. Even worse, that's not good at all. Definitely don't do that. But it was a fight. It was the dad, it was the daughter, it was little Jackie. They were throwing rocks at each other. Jackie had a good arm, but no one wins in a rock fight. Remember, I said that's bad. We don't want to do that. And Jackie was learning that as well. Eventually, the girl's mother came out and broke up the fight. Like I said, the world can be a scary place. But even as a kid, there was one thing that always made me happy. So I'm glad that he was able to get out of that. And let's see what ended up making Jackie happy. Sports and winning at sports. Okay, 2 things. So it was sports and it was winning at sports. Those were 2 things that made Jackie happy. He loved playing everything: baseball, football, basketball, soccer, marbles, even dodgeball. All the kids would get in a circle when they would play the dodgeball. White kids, black kids, Hispanic kids, Asian kids, they would all play together. And that was the great thing about sports. Everyone at any time can play. When I was growing up, the teams I played on had boys and girls, white and black, tall and short, brown and yellow kids. We were all out there, and it was a great thing about playing a ton of sports together. And when Jackie and his friends were playing dodgeball, the rules were simple. If the ball hit you, you were out. He would be out there ducking and jumping and leaping and, of course, throwing that dodgeball. You can see Jackie out there doing his thing, playing dodgeball, throwing it. I'm sure some of you have played. I enjoyed playing dodgeball as well. And by the time they would finish playing dodgeball, Jackie was always the last one standing. He would hit everybody, and he would move out the way so the ball wouldn't hit him. And the crazy part about it, again, with all those different kids out there, even though Jackie was winning all the time, they weren't mad at him for winning. They appreciated the skill it took. Those childhood games were some of the only times I wasn't judged by the color of my skin. And you can see Jackie with all the kids out there having a good time. Jackie's holding the ball. He won. They said, "Hooray, Jackie! How's he do it?" And what's that B on his hat stand for? You'll see. So if you look really close, Jackie's got a B on his hat. We'll see what that B ends up standing for on Jackie's hat. So now, after playing this amazing sport, dodgeball, with all these different kids of different colors, it's the summertime and it's hot outside. Jackie and his friends want to go to the swimming pool. Let's see what happens. But still, that didn't make all of his problems go away. At the local public pool in Brookside Park, you could only go swimming if you were white. If your skin was black, they locked you out. That's not fun at all, but that was what happened sometimes back then. And as you see, we have a hot summer day. See that sun right there? We have the swimming pool, and all the kids in there are white. We have Jackie and his friends that are brown and yellow on the outside looking in. They weren't allowed to go inside the pool, and that's not fun. But them and their friends, they started making some complaints, and a few days a week, the swimming pool would be open for Jackie and his friends every Wednesday from 2 to 5 p.m. They would open the pool up, and anybody, black, Mexican, Asian, could come swim in the pool. So now it's on one of those Wednesdays, and look, Jackie and his friends get a chance to go swim in the pool. They are loving it, and they're having a great time. So how do you win when you feel like you're fighting the entire world? My mother, who worked as a maid, showed me the answer back then. We were so poor, we sometimes ate only 2 meals a day. To help us out, every Saturday night, the local bakery would let us take home their leftovers. And the milkman, back when milk was delivered to your house, would give us whatever extra they had on hand. Jackie's mom came home with a ton of food. The kids were all excited. And everyone goes, "Oh man, we got a feast going on." And Jackie's mom said, "It's not just for us." "What do you mean?" So here's Jackie's mom with all the kids and all the food. And there's little Jackie, and they're so excited to get all this food. But Jackie learned a very valuable lesson here. Jackie's mom brought all that food home, not only to share it with her family, but with the other families in the neighborhood that were also in need. We weren't the only ones struggling for money. My mom took the extra food and shared it with all the other neighbors. So Jackie's sitting there going, "That's right." She even shared it with the angry guy who he got into the rock fight with. Remember earlier in the book, he got in a fight with the little girl and her dad? They also were struggling, didn't know where their next meal was coming from, and Jackie's mom didn't care. She knew they were hungry. She had some food. She was gonna help them out. She says, "Would you like some extra bread?" And the dad goes, "Wow, thanks. That's very kind of you." So as you can see, Jackie's mom is out there helping the whole neighborhood get some food and get something to drink for the end of the night. That's the kind of mom that Jackie's mom was. That's how we got to be friends with everyone in the neighborhood. It was one of my mom's best lessons. When you do something good, it brings out the good in others. Plus, the more our neighbors got to know us, the more they realized just how much black and white people were alike. The only difference is the skin color. But some people need to be around each other to figure that out. And Jackie's mom had a great way of doing it. As she had things that can help her family out, she also wanted to help the other families out. Remember, Jackie's family was the only black family in the neighborhood. So all these other families that had needs, Jackie's mom was trying to help them out. Now, Jackie learned a similar lesson on another day from a local mechanic named Carl Anderson. He saw the group of boys he used to hang out with. They called themselves the Pepper Street Gang. We were a bunch of poor kids. For fun, we'd throw dirt clods at cars and swipe golf balls from the local golf course. Jackie always loved throwing, but again, we can't throw rocks at people. We can't throw things at cars. Jackie had to learn some of that stuff. So you can see Jackie and his friends having not up to anything good out there throwing bad things at the car, rocks and dirt and all that stuff. That's not a good thing. But let's see the lesson that Jackie learns from it. When he saw what was going on, Mr. Anderson took him aside. He didn't lose his temper. Calm as can be, he told him, "Jackie, I know how you're following the crowd. You're afraid. They'll think you're different or chicken. But it doesn't take guts to follow the crowd. Courage comes from being willing to be different." You can see Mr. Anderson talking to little Jackie, telling him those very important lessons. What Mr. Anderson said that day, it got to me. With the help of my pastor, I stopped hanging out with that gang. From there, I threw myself even deeper into my favorite activity. What do you think that favorite activity is? Let's see. Sports and winning sports. Remember, he talked about that before, especially baseball, which is the same sport that I played. As a teenager, I could run so fast. A local reporter noticed that in nearly every game, I stole second base, third base, and home at least one time. So here's Jackie out there running so fast. See how many of them are? Because he's running so fast. This isn't stealing, it's grand larceny. Man, that guy can write. You were just on first base. How did you get so fast? Maybe the B on his hat is for blast off. We're still trying to figure out what that B on his hat stands for. See, he's still got that B right there. We still don't know. People are trying to guess because he's so fast. And as he was playing and being so fast and being so good, Jackie had a chance to go to college. In college, I became the first UCLA student, that's his college, UCLA, to ever letter in 4 sports. So remember, Jackie played baseball, but he liked playing a lot of other sports. He played baseball, he played football, he played basketball, and he played track. I'm sure all of you out there like playing a bunch of different sports. How many of those sports that Jackie played do you play? They said I was once the best football player in the country. 2 seasons in a row, I scored more points of any player in the league in basketball, and he won the NCAA title that year. Only one American jumped further than him. So there's Jackie playing baseball, playing football, playing basketball, and running track. But the same problems kept coming back. So even though Jackie was great at sports, he still had things he had to deal with. When the college newspaper wrote a nice article about me, one of my own white teammates purposely smashed into my leg, trying to injure me. He was mad that the article said something nice about black people. So you see them out there playing football on the field. There's Jackie out there screaming. It's not good. He goes, my leg. He goes, don't they know we're on the same team? Trust me, they know. They knew what was going on. So here's Jackie screaming and some of his teammates wondering what's going on. Why would they hurt their own teammate? But some people just didn't like the fact that Jackie was getting a lot of credit for being as good as he was and for being black. Again, that's not very good. By the time I got out of the Army, Jackie went to the Army as well. It still didn't matter that I was the best athlete in the country. If you wanted to play professional sports, you had to be white. Remember back in the book when they were at the swimming pool and on certain days only the white people can swim in the pool? That's how it was with some of the sports as well. So Jackie's out there, he wants to play, and the white teams are saying, sorry, son, you're not gonna get a chance to play. Your kind doesn't belong here. So here's the white baseball team, and there's little Jackie hoping just to get a chance to play the game that he loves. He's good. Everyone's told him he's good. The writers talk about it. Colleges talked about it. But yet he can't play at the professional level. Back then, if you were the world champs, it meant you were the white champs because there were only white teams. In all of the Major League Baseball, not a single team had even one black player. Oh, and did I mention that if you were a black team, the pay was worse, the food was worse, and sometimes the only place to sleep was on the bus. Now, some of the black players did get a chance to play. They played in their own league called the Negro Leagues. So you can see all the black players down here and all the white players up there. So the two of them didn't get a chance to play with each other, not for some time. And the bad part is they didn't get treated the same as their white teammates. But all of that was about to change. Thanks to a man named Branch Rickey. Rickey was the president of the Brooklyn Dodgers, one of the most popular baseball teams ever. Remember that B on Jackie's hat? I wonder if that B might stand for Brooklyn. We'll wait and see. We'll see what happens. Branch said, I have an idea. With so many players fighting in World War II, Rickey had a plan for filling a team. The Dodgers will secretly look for black players. Some of his colleagues said, are you nuts? People will stop rooting for us. He goes, I don't care. I want people to play for my team. It's time to do what is right, Branch Rickey said, after searching all across the United States and the world. So here's Branch Rickey, a white individual who owned a team. These are some of the guys that said it might be tough for him to do it. And Branch goes, you know what? I'm going to fly across the country and find me some talent. Black, white, it doesn't matter. Branch Rickey found our guy, Jackie Robinson. Branch found him. Jackie said, I'm Jackie Robinson. It's nice to meet you. Branch said, nice to meet you too. I think you can play in the major leagues. How do you feel about that? So it's really cool. Branch Rickey right here, shaking hands with Jackie Robinson, getting a chance to meet each other, telling him that he thinks he has an opportunity to play in the major leagues. Mr. Rickey told me that he knew I was a good ball player, but he wanted to know whether I had the guts. He warned me that many white people would be mad to see a black player. There's no one on our side, no owners, no umpires. Loads of players and spectators will yell at you. Pitchers will throw baseballs at your head, but no matter what they do, if you get angry, it'll look like you can't handle it. This is Branch Rickey telling Jackie all that stuff, that not the best it's not going to be easy for him to go out there and step on the field in the major leagues being the first black player to do it. Not a lot of people wanted to see that happen. Branch told Jackie, can you handle it? Let's see. Remember, Jackie's mom gave him the middle name Roosevelt because he thought he was brave. Let's see if he can handle it. On April 18th, 1946, at 27 years old, I was given my shot at Roosevelt Stadium in Jersey City, New Jersey. I played my first official game for the Montreal Royals, the Brooklyn Dodgers farm team. The farm teams are the minor league teams. These are the teams that help build up the major league teams that you see on television. Thousands of black spectators had come to see what I could do. Thousands of white players were there too, convinced that a black player couldn't possibly be as good as a white one. It was up to me to prove them wrong. So as you can see on the top here, look at all the people out there to see little Jackie out there playing professional baseball with the white players. You better believe I was terrified. I didn't want to let the people down. Then at 3:04 p.m., it was his first at-bat. He swung it, but he was thrown out at first. It's all right. Sometimes you're going to make outs, but how do you bounce back from it? The next time he came up, it was the third inning. There were two guys on base. The pitcher decided to throw a fastball. I can still see it coming, chest high, down the middle, but this time, a little different. Crack! Jackie swung at it hard. When the ball finally landed 340 feet away in the left field stands, no one could say that a black man can't play as well as a white man. Some called it a home run, others called it history. That afternoon, in 5 at-bats, I hit and got on base 4 times. He stole second base twice. Remember how fast they said Jackie was? And he scored 4 runs. Oh, look at all the fans out there, white, black, they all want to meet little Jackie right there. They wanted to get his autograph. They loved how he played out there. Hooray, Jackie! How's he do it? When he puts that B back on his hat, it's gonna be for boom. People still don't know what the B stands for. I don't know what it means either, but everyone's trying to figure it out. Maybe that B stands for boom. When the game was done, I couldn't get to the locker room because he was mobbed by all those fans I just showed you. Black, white, young, old, even the folks rooting for the other team, they were cheering for Jackie. Still, that didn't mean it was easy. When I started playing for the Brooklyn Dodgers, lots of players didn't want me there. Pitchers threw fastballs at my head. Remember, Branch Rickey said they might do that. Runners stepped on him with their cleats. Catchers even spit on his shoes. That's not good. That's not nice. And they weren't just coming after me. They told me that if I kept playing, they'd hurt my son. Was I mad? Yes. Was I scared? Yes. So you see Jackie right here, running, getting the ball thrown at him, people stepping on him, spitting on his shoes. That makes it tough to play. All the things we talked about earlier, the name calling, the rock throwing, all this stuff is bad. You never want to have that happen, but we have to find a way to be brave. Remember, Jackie's mom wanted him to be a brave young man. He has to find a way to battle through it. But he never let that stop him, and that's part of being brave. Even though some of that stuff happens to you, you can't let it stop you from becoming who you want to be. Jackie was out there. He goes, I told you that B stood for boom. The B is for Brooklyn, genius. You got Jackie out there still playing. He didn't let him stop him. This guy thought it stood for boom, that B on his hat, and this one thought it stood for Brooklyn. That's my guess. I think it stands for Brooklyn too. Game after game, I kept playing, knowing I wasn't just playing for myself. Each time, more and more people, black and white, were cheering. In the stands, fans wore I am Jackie buttons, and slowly, eventually, we were all playing together. Black, white, Asian, Hispanic. Baseball opened up for everyone. It was just like those childhood games of dodgeball. Remember, Jackie was playing dodgeball with all his friends before? Didn't matter what color they were just out there playing and having fun. And that's what Jackie started in Major League Baseball and gave me an opportunity to do as I was playing Major League Baseball. Through the simple game of baseball, the country saw a new possibility, a new option. All they needed was someone to go first. You see his stats, the fans were saying. He stole home 19 times. He was the National League MVP in 1949 when he led in hitting and steals. The Dodgers won 6 pennants in his 10th season. He was one of the few people inducted into the Hall of Fame in his very first year of eligibility. Look how happy everybody is, the kids, the adults, black, white, everybody just loved watching Jackie play, and he was a great ball player. It's amazing. In life, people tried to scare me. They wanted to stop me. They wanted to make me go away. Why? Because he was different. Remember, Jackie was black. He grew up in a neighborhood with a lot of white kids, so everyone thought he was different because of the color of his skin. Each time he wanted to fight back. Sometimes he did. Remember the rock fight? Remember the name calling? But he couldn't let that get to him. But for real change to come, you need to lead by example. So as Jackie made it to the major leagues, remember they were stepping on him, they were spitting on him, they were doing all that stuff. But you didn't hear Jackie doing that. Jackie learned he can't go ahead and fight back. He can't name call. Jackie had to keep playing, had to keep working, had to keep having fun. And he went out there and he made it enjoyable for all those people to come out there and watch him. Being a leader takes bravery. But remember this, no one is born brave. Remember, Jackie made a lot of mistakes growing up, just like all of us have done and will do, but we have to learn from them. No matter how big or small you are, there will always be things that scare you. It's okay to be afraid. Just don't let it stop you. Remember that part where they wouldn't let him swim It's now called Robinson Park. Think about that. He couldn't swim in that pool before, and now they've named it after him. Today, no one in baseball can wear the number 42, but once a year, every player on every team gets to wear it. It's the one day when everybody looks the same. It's one of my favorite days when I was playing baseball, the day where we all wore 42. Didn't matter who you were, white, black, Asian, Hispanic, old or young, you got to wear 42 in honor of Jackie Robinson. There's real power in each and every one of us. Use that power to do what's right. Use that power for a cause that you believe in. And most of all, use that power to lead and help others. You know, instead of Brooklyn, you could have told people the B on his hat was for brave, just like his middle name. So again, you see everybody at the Hall of Fame wearing 42. Jackie's right there, got the B on his hat. The B could stand for a ton of things. Brave, Brooklyn, bold, boom, blazing. He was amazing. Jackie was able to do it all. I am Jackie Robinson. I will always lead the way, and I hope you will too. When others see your example, they'll stand with you. It's the only way the world ever gets changed, together. So Jackie out there standing with his teammates. Notice everybody is all colors, black, white, yellow, blue, green, it doesn't matter. Jackie did amazing things. Jackie has an amazing quote, one of my favorite quotes. A life is not important except in the impact it has on other lives. So little Jackie right here, here's an actual picture of Jackie as he grew up to become a great baseball player. Jackie would be born in January 31st, 1919. He went to the Army. Remember they talked about that. He played in the Negro Leagues back when there was only white leagues playing and only black leagues playing. They couldn't play together. So when that was happening, Jackie played for the Kansas City Monarchs in 1945. And then in 1946, he married his wife, Rachel. He got a chance to play in his first Brooklyn Dodgers game. Remember that B on his hat? In 1947, he won his first Major League Rookie of the Year award in 1947, that same year. He won MVP in 1949. That's the best player in baseball. In 1962, he was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. And then unfortunately, in 1972, he ended up dying. But on April 15th, 2004, and every April 15 to come, we celebrate Jackie Robinson Day in Major League Baseball. And here's a couple more pictures. This is Branch Rickey, who's the one that signed Jackie. Here's Jackie playing football. Here's Jackie running track. And here is Jackie with his siblings. I hope you all enjoyed this amazing book. I am Jackie Robinson. Again, Jackie was one of my favorite baseball players. And for Black History Month, I think this is a great book to read. There's a lot of great individuals you can look up to learn about Black history, but here's a great one. This was someone that was brave. This was someone that was bold. This is someone that was strong. He broke the color barrier in Major League Baseball. He went on to fight for civil rights. He was a great young man, a great adult, a great human being. I hope you enjoyed this book. And because of Jackie Robinson, I got a chance to play Major League Baseball and be here with you all today. So thank you very much again. My name is Curtis Granderson, and thank you. I hope you enjoyed this book. I am Jackie Robinson.